All right, well, I guess we're ready to start here. Whatever you did, it worked fine because mine didn't work. It only retains 40 lines. I don't know why, but okay. All right, if I tie a bow behind my back, there we go. You all ready? May as well get this shindig on the road. First of all, we're going to make green beans, and you can't have green beans without bacon. Sorry? Can't do it. Got to have bacon. Nuke it for 2 minutes. All right, and we're going to have mashed potatoes with horseradish. So I got to boil my potatoes. They're already in here. Just regular old potatoes cut up in little cubes. And with some salt in there, they're boiling up. But now we got the fun part. Tonight we're making chicken fried steak. I went out and got a cheap piece of meat. It's a bottom, or this is a top round, and I cut it against the grain. And it's about ½ an inch thick, or maybe a little bit more. And I got to take this, and I cheated. Yes, I did. I have a meat slicer. So, first thing I need is weapon of mass destruction and some flour, just plain old all-purpose flour. I'm going to take it, I'm going to just coat it in the flour, one piece at a time. Well, I'll throw them all in here because I'm going to need them. And then I whack it. Here goes. I want to get it down to about ¼ inch thick. My neighbors love me when I do this. And the reason you coat it first is you want to drive the flour into it. And what that does is it gets the flour inside. Wow, that is really going to town in there. That's good enough. That's 1.5 minutes. It gets the flour inside of it so that it kind of thickens up with the fat inside of the meat. And now, when you get it pounded down a little bit, you want to sugar, salt and pepper it just a little bit, and pound that into it too. When you pound meat, you want to start from the center and kind of go out. So you're going this way. If you're pounding it with the pounding edge that has the little cleats on the edges of it, what that does is it tears apart the connective tissue in the inside of here and makes it so that you don't actually poke holes in it, but you pull it apart a little bit. It's not so much at this point that you want to, you got to watch your thumb though. Ow. That you want to make it really thin. You just want to tenderize it a little bit. There's one. One side. The other side. A little bit of seasoning. And pound in the seasoning. I forgot to preheat the oven to about 300. Okay? Like I said, you're not actually flattening it out. You're not making a paillard out of it, you're just tenderizing it. And I got to make a lot of this because I told the people at work I was doing this and they all want some. When you buy your round steak, you want to make sure that you cut as much of the fat off it as you want. I know that fat is flavor. But for round steak, fat is also very tough and it doesn't cook very well. So you want to get as much of it off of there as you can. I asked my daughter last Christmas to get me a little device called a needle tenderizer. It's got a million little needles on it, and you punch on it and it pokes little needles into it. Now, she told me that she couldn't find it. I don't know if that's true or not, but she said she couldn't find it. So I didn't get one. I may have to buy one for myself. Pound, season, pound on both sides, season a little bit, pound the seasoning into it. This is work. Okay. Amazon has it. Good. Kathy, you go tell her. Whoops. I got out of order here. Whoops. It's a good thing I don't cook at midnight. My neighbors would be killing me. Now I put a little on here. This is fresh ground pepper. By the way, I buy peppercorns, they're cheaper, and I buy the mixture of peppercorns, the white ones and the pink ones and the black ones and all that stuff, and I grind them up in this thing. It's a coffee mill. Now it has been relegated only to spices because you don't want to put coffee in here and grind it up because it's going to taste like everything you ever put in there. But it really does make a difference. Fresh pepper makes a difference. Fresh salt, not so much, who cares? Fresh pepper makes a difference. All right. You have to work for this dinner. Okay. We'll just do a couple more here real quick. You can skip this step altogether if you want to and just get the ones that the butcher's already done for you in the store. Just make sure that you get the bottom round because it ain't going to taste like what you think it's supposed to taste like unless you do. I've tried this with good cuts of meat. It doesn't work. They taste like crap. Coffee bean grinder. Oh, you got them all? Well, of course you do, Mark. One more, and I think that'll be enough. The oven is preheating to 300 degrees. Basically, that's just to hold it when I get done. Wonder how soundproof this place really is. That's enough. All right, now we want to take this and get something to put it on. We'll just use one of these plates. And we want to set this, just set it aside, separated for about 10 minutes while we do other stuff. Okay, there we go. Just let it out at room temperature. Not going to hurt it at all. Meanwhile, we want to break 3 eggs into this bowl here. I'm the one standing over it. Oops. Okay, I never get eggshells in there, and I did. You ever try to get an eggshell out of an egg? No matter where you put your finger, it's not right. Whoop, got it. Okay. Yep, there it is. Okay. Now, we need to beat that up. Just get some beat up the eggs, get them. Don't need to be frothy, and 1 tablespoon of water. Because the tablespoon of water helps break it down so that the eggs don't separate on you and go back to being whites and yolks. That's ready for later. I'm going to clean that later. What a mess. Okay. Okay, so we need a big pan. Of course it's stuck. All right. Big pan, my biggest, because I want the room for it. Up on high, and about 3 good tablespoons of plain old vegetable oil, because we're gonna fry these off when we get done here. When we get done coating them. How are my potatoes coming? Potatoes are working. Let's get the green beans going. All right. Now, when I do green beans, I use frozen green beans. I can't really, honest to goodness, tell the difference between, that's why I wear a bib, the frozen green beans and fresh anymore. They've got this frozen thing down so that it really, really works. I put about 2 cups of water into the pan. Since we're having beef, I put in 1 extraordinarily carefully measured, sort of overflowing teaspoon of this beef base. This is the stuff I talk about all the time, by the way. This particular one is called Orrington Farms. It's beef base, but it doesn't have all the salt of beef bouillon. You've got chicken base and beef base and ham base and fish base, although I can never find the fish base. And it's so much better for you than all that bouillon salt. And it tastes so much better, and you can make the most glorious, quick chicken and beef stocks with it that you can ever believe. It's just great stuff. You should always have it in your kitchen. All right, stir this up a little, just kind of break it up and put it on some heat. All right, so I heat up the water with the beef base in it and a little bit of salt. Healthy pinch of salt. Those are going to be used in a little bit. All right, now, where are we? Oh yeah, so these guys are sitting back here. I'm going to wrap these up because I'm not going to use them tonight. I think I've got enough to feed the people at work. I'll do something with these tomorrow. This is on sale, by the way, as usual. Almost everything I buy is on sale. All right, so my oil is good and hot. I mean good and hot. Now, you can test oil. There was a little water in this pan, so it's evidently pretty good. But you can test oil by taking a little bit of water on your finger and doing that. And if it goes sizzle and pops up in little bubbles, your oil is hot as you want it to be. So turn your oven down. Now, keep that hot. I know in my oven that's about 2. Potatoes are boiling away. All right, so now we've got these guys have sat for a few minutes, which is where I want them. And now what we're going to do is we're going to dredge them again. Lightly. Shake it off, the excess. Oil and butter. Well, except for as hot as I want this to be, the butter's, or Pam, well, but the butter would burn even with the oil in it at this point. So we dredge them, dip them in the egg, dredge them again. One hand club, one hand dry. If you manage to do that all the time, I got a lot of respect for you because I always get my hands mixed up. See? One hand wet, one hand dry. That way you don't get club finger. So we had a dredge, pound, salt and pepper, dredge, in here again, then the butter or the egg. See, I told you. I just did it wrong. Okay. And then in the flour again. So basically you got 3 dredges going on. Bam. Okay. Flour. Ah, the heck with the club finger. I'm not going to make it. I never do. Egg. Flour again. Flour. Ooh, this one came out spectacular. That's going to be the showpiece right there. It's just exactly the right level, height, thickness, whatever the heck it's called. All right. Shake off the excess as much as you can, because if you get too much in there, it's just going to turn into gum. Ooh, that's a nice one. Looky there. Okay. How in the world did you get... How did you get the little musical notes on there, Joy Marie? Ah, thanks a lot. Pound and pound 984? Okay. I've been a geek for a long time. I didn't know that. Amazing. I know the Alt and the number keys. Like, what is it? Alt 225, Alt 13, Alt 13? Okay. Not 13. Well, yeah, 13. Okay, that would work. Yeah, laptops don't work so well, do they? All right, I got, all these guys are double coated, double dipped, ready to go, and I got club fingers. And I got to check my potatoes because I don't want to overdo them. They've been in there about 5 minutes. Let's do the secret fork test. Stand still. No, they're not done yet. But it isn't going to be long. All right. My water with my salt and my beef broth is boiling back there. So now I take my bacon, 2 strips of bacon, cut it up into little bitty teeny tiny chunks, or as little teeny tiny as you can get, without taking off the thumb. Sorry about you seeing my back, but I only got 2 cutting boards and one of them isn't facing you. All right, so now I got my bacons all cut up. Throw that into the water. Reduce the heat to about low, medium low. Let that go for a minute. All right. Okay. Put these on here. Now I'm going to throw these into the freezer just for a minute, just to set the tops on them, because it makes it easier to work with while I'm working with everything else. Yeah. Move, chicken. Thank you. Okay, everybody remind me that's precariously perched in there. Okay, I don't need the eggs anymore. Ah, eggs are done. And is this back up to a, okay. This is back up to a boil with the bacon in it. And I'm going to throw in carefully measured bunch of green beans. Cover them up. Set them on really, really low. And just let them go. You can't hurt them at this point. We have to, yep, those are done. That method of testing them really hurts. Okay. we have to drain these guys. And for right now, put them right back into the pan. Cover it, off the heat, and let it set. Okay. Got a trick with those I'm going to show you in a minute when it's time to actually do it. All right, you only actually have to have, I got to be careful when I do that, because if you guys have seen the one with the chocolate candies, that was a horrible mess, and that's exactly what I did this time. Opened up the door and didn't look at it, and everything fell out on the floor, and I had to make more chocolate candies. Actually, you only need about 5 minutes in the freezer. 20 minutes in the refrigerator, five minutes in the freezer, just to set the outside so that it's reasonably hard. That way it doesn't come off when you throw it in the pan. It really doesn't take that long. It's about 5 minutes. Excuse me while I kind of clean up this mess a little bit. The big secret to cooking this stuff, as anybody from the South will tell you, is the temperature of the oil when you start and not overcrowding the pan. You'd be tempted to put a bunch of them in there, but you just can't, because if you do, you're going to ruin it. Yep. It just won't work. It just flat out won't work. You'll end up with uncrispy, soggy, nasty chicken fried steak. That's perfect. Okay. I know my oven, or my range. You actually have to kind of play with your range to figure out where it needs to be. That was my ankle trying to give way. I didn't really know if I was even going to make it today, because, quite frankly, my gout acted up. And this time it attacked me in my ankle instead of my toe. If it's just in my toe, I can kind of get around it by walking silly. But if it's in my ankle, there ain't no walking. That's why last week I didn't have one, because it had started and it just wasn't good. It was bad. Kathy knows that I did cook, but it was kind of come in, do something, go sit down. Come in, do something, go sit down, because I just couldn't stand up that long. Got to clean the beef off of my pounder here. It's the only time I ever use the knurled side of the pounder is for doing this, ever. And quite frankly, I hardly ever do this. I usually just buy the ones that are already made. But since I like you folks so much, I decided to do it the real way. All right, we're going to pretend they've been, well, that's actually pretty cold. Okay, pan's really cold. All right, here we go. We get to brown these guys off about 3 at a time into the pan. Now that is sizzling exactly like I wanted. It's not going nuts. It's only going to take about 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes on a side. If you do it much more than that, you're going to burn them. No room in the... Oh, God. Say hi. Okay. What am I looking for? I'm looking for this little spatula right here. Okay. Now, I have prepared over here, I got a pan that's got a couple of cooling racks on the top of it, which I'm going to put the meat on top of once it has cooked about 3 minutes, and on both sides, because it'll be done by that. It's pretty thin. I've pounded it down, and so it's going to cook pretty quickly. And it's going to have all that flavor inside of it. I saw something, by the way, speaking of meat. I was watching the Galloping Gourmet, and he had this tool I've never seen before. It was really, really cool. It was like a handle with a tube on it with the top cut off of it, and you slice fat, basically the fat off of bacon, and you stuff it in the little top of this tube, and then you take the whole tube and you jam it in the side of a steak all the way through, and then you put your thumb on it and you pull it out, and that piece of pork fat stays inside the steak, and when you cook it, it infuses itself in the inside. I gotta get me one of those. I don't know where the heck I can find one, but I gotta get me one of those. That looked like fun. And that looked like it would be. Pork fat rules. It really does. Okay. One thing about cooking meat, and I don't know if you know this, and it works in the grill, it works in the pan, it works everywhere you go. Meat will let you know when it's ready to turn. If it's not ready to turn, it'll stick. If it is ready to turn, it'll let loose. Don't force the meat if it's not ready to let go, because you'll just tear it up or tear the coating off of it or whatever that's in there, and it just won't be any good at all. It won't look right. So let the meat tell you when it's ready to turn. Are we ready to turn? Well, maybe. My oven isn't flat. Oh, they're nicely sliding around now. Let's take a look. No, not ready. I'm going to have to turn this heat up some. Turn it up a little bit. It got too cold on me. That pan has a really heavy bottom on it, but evidently not heavy enough. Okay, I'm going to turn up my green beans a little bit. All right, while we're doing this, we're going to make our mashed potatoes. Now, I make my mashed potatoes very simply. I like my mashed potatoes, and you're all going to yell at me, and I don't really care. If I'm making mashed potatoes for people that are picky about lumps, yes, I have a ricer. But for me, I kind of like them lumpy. For this, I want it lumpy. Anyway, I'm going to put in about a good large teaspoon of, I can't believe it's not butter. Now, why do I use that? One of the things that I can't believe it's not butter or its derivatives does that's very, very nice is it doesn't separate. If you're going to serve something that you want to dip into butter, like artichokes, where you peel the leaves off and dip them into butter, or I don't know, lobster or clams or something that you want to dip into butter, it's better to use the I can't believe it's not butter than it is to use real butter, because it doesn't separate on you and you don't end up with a skim of oil on top of a skim of the bottom of the fat that's there. It works great. Okay. So these are just slightly underdone. I'm just going to mash them up here a little bit. Now I'm going to put in the secret ingredient. Horseradish. 1/2 of a teaspoon of horseradish. No more. That's for four little potatoes. You can do it to your own taste. My wife thanks for clarifying what. My wife did this a long time ago, and I just loved it. Oh, the butter. Okay. All right. Now, the tricky part. Let's go check this and see how it's doing. No, not yet. Somehow or other, my oven got unbalanced. The tricky part, how much milk to put in? It's always less than you think. No? So, just put in a little bit, mix it up. Because if you don't, you got to boil another egg or another potato and put it in here. I know that there's things that you can do to make it come back to thickness. You can put an egg yolk in there. There's all kinds of things they say you can do. But if you put in too much milk, just a drizzle more, and I mean, I didn't put in more than about a tablespoon of milk in here for 4 potatoes. I already had the butter in there. So Perfect. Ta-da! Perfect mashed potatoes. Okay. Now, everything else isn't ready, so we have to store the mashed potatoes somehow and get them hot again. Well, a microwave is perfect for that. Ah, there we go. Now they're cooked. Oh, yes. Oh, crispy and crunchy on the outside. Everything is gorgeous. Okay, put these in a microwave-safe bowl, which means pretty much anything besides metal these days, or crystal. Lead crystal doesn't work in a microwave, found that out. You can shatter that really expensive glass in a heartbeat. Okay, and put them in a microwave. Don't do anything with them, just put them in there. Whole milk, yes. It's one of the few things in cooking that you actually would use whole milk for. A lot of the things that you cook, you really don't want the fat in whole milk, but in this you want the fat and the fat in the butter because it mixes up nicely and it holds its state. It's the thing about fat. When you put fat and protein together, fat and starch together, the fat will hold its state for you, and you'll maintain that consistency that you want without having to work for it. It's a molecular bonding deal. Food science is fun. At least Alton Brown sort of makes it fun. I'm not sure if I'd ever want to go to school for it or not. Okay. All right. How are we doing? Those are getting cooked nicely. All right, what we got? Missed you. What, Kathy? Had to step one. Okay, you didn't miss much, Kathy. I made mashed potatoes. All right, these guys, how are you doing? You're cooking up nicely. All right, how are you doing? That one's done. Okay. Since that one is done, I can throw in another one to take its place. Just remember where I left off. It's going to take a little more oil. I didn't actually have it hot enough when I started, so it's my fault. Oh, all right. So, we all caught up? This is actually pretty easy. Pretty easy meal. It's just a lot of steps. I knew I was missing something. Hey, have you ever noticed if you watch the Galloping Gourmet, he never drinks that glass of wine. He never touches it on television. There's a reason for that. In England, when they did that show, you were not allowed to drink any alcoholic beverage on television or give the illusion that you were drinking an alcoholic beverage. In the United States, you could have tea and call it bourbon, and you could drink that, and they said, okay, it's tea, it's not bourbon. But in England, no. So he just carried it around, jumped over the chairs, whatever he did with it, but he never, ever drank it. I, on the other hand, am on the internet. I can drink all I want. Thank God. That one's done. And that one's done. Couple more here. All right. Now, in the bottom of this pan, we have some of the most glorious meat-flavored tidbits that we are going to use to make the gravy with, to pour over the top of here. One of my favorite things in the whole world to do is to make pan gravy with the tidbits that are left over. Oh, God, it's good. I love it. You can make pan gravy from scratch, but it'll never be the same. Okay, my green beans have come up back to a full boil really slowly. All right? Now, you want to cover them, turn them off all the way, and leave them there. You don't want to overcook your green beans, because mushy green beans are the things that you learned to hate when your mother made them. Trust me, I'm thinking about it. Maybe I can just make a whole lot of it and then ship it out to you the next day. That won't work. All right. Honest to goodness, though, try having, this is Yoder's. This is really good. I like this stuff. It's got some real flavor. Try putting just a little bit of the old hot root into your mashed potatoes the next time. I think you'll love it. I know, my wife did it, and I just absolutely adored it. I know you're 15 minutes away, but you ain't never made it over here yet. That's probably because I haven't told you where I live. Although I'm sure Megan will tell you. Okay, I want you, now that I can handle this, I'm going to bring this over and show you. This is what it's actually supposed to look like when it's done. I don't know, can you all see that? It looks sort of baked steak with coating on top of it, which is pretty much what it is. It's the gravy that makes this wonderful. The baked steak part is good, but it ain't perfect. I forgot a step here. I'm supposed to put this in the oven at 300 degrees while I'm cooking these other ones to keep it crispy. Oh well. It's about a 1/4 inch wide. What? Well, you got a net book? I got fruit flies, and I have no fruit. I hate fruit flies. Hate them. Don't know where they come from. Did you bring them in, buddy? How's the video doing? This is the first time we've actually had 3 people on at the same time. How's the video doing on this? I mean, it's probably breaking up some. I presume it would be. Here in 3. There. Uh-huh. But it's not objectionable. Yeah. Where the fruit's around. Never mind. Well, I'm going to need more oil. Sometimes you just have to go with it. Of course, this is a really big pan. Not really too bad? Okay. How about you, Joy Marie? Can you, that's what we need to make, a scratch and sniff screen. That would work. Good. We got to come up with a scratch and sniff screen. Remember scratch and sniff many, many years ago? Boy, some of those were disgusting. Okay. Yeah, it's about ready to go. Put some Benadryl? Oh, okay. Oh, I gotta come up with a better method than that. Now, I did save, by the way, this is the flour that I use to dredge these things in, the steaks in. I did save that because I'm going to need some to make the gravy with. That's a meeting that was rarely well done. I don't know. As many times as they've rehashed and redone everything, it should be pretty well done. There is some television that's good. Most of it, you're right, is crap. Okay. By the way, I'm doing the old finger test here. Do you guys know what the finger test is? When you're testing meat when you're cooking it? I'm sure Mark does. Do you know the palm test? Okay. This is really seriously pun night, isn't it? Okay. If you hold your hand like this, and you poke right there, where your thumb and your finger come together in that little web thingy, and you poke, that is rare. That's rare meat. We're right there just above the little web. Pull your hand together. Don't make a fist. Just pull your hand together so that it's loose and poke it. That's medium. Make a fist. That's well done, or as I like to call it, burnt. That's how when you poke, you go, Okay, and you can tell what your meat is. And it works every time. Like I can tell these guys, other than the fact they're crusty on the outside, are not done yet. But they will be in just a minute. Okay. I'm doing a no-no here. I'm pushing them down. Wow. I'm going to need more oil in here for the gravy anyway, so I'm not really worried about it. Usually when I do the gravy, I do it with some onions in it. Should I put some onions in it? Really finely chopped onions, or? Okay. I like just really finely chopped onions in it. It just gives it a little bit of oomphy flavor. Oh. Okay, we got to hurry this thing along. We got about 10 minutes to go here. We're trying to keep these under an hour, so I can cut them down to 15 minutes and put them on YouTube. Yeah, right. Okay. Okay, remember, don't ever take your eyes off of what you're chopping. Because you're liable to lose a finger. Aha! They're done. Okay. Put them in there. Now you want those to be medium. Okay. All right, so I need about another tablespoon of oil here. Get this up nice and hot. Put my onions in first so that I can sweat them off a little bit. As hot as this is, that isn't going to take very long. All right. Onion, cooked onion smell. All right, and now I need about a cup of chicken broth to deglaze this pan with. Boy, did those cook in a hurry. Holy smoke. That was a half of a very small onion, very finely diced. Very finely diced. Okay. Now I need about a tablespoon or two of flour that I used for dredging my chicken in. Steak. And just sprinkle it around. We'll start with 2 tablespoons here first. And a whisk. Here, whisk. Thank you. This is called making the hot roux, in case you wanted to know. Okay. I don't want to burn it or anything. I just want it to mix up here and get a little bit of the flour taste out of it. And then I want about a cup of chicken broth. And scrape all the goodly bits off the bottom. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, now to flavor that up, I'm going to use some thyme, about half a teaspoon of ground thyme, a good big giant teaspoon if you had fresh thyme leaves all chopped up. All right, take that off the heat for a minute, get my parsley, a little bit of parsley, fresh if you can get it. Give it a good little slice here with a knife. Okay. Come on, you can cut up. Get littler. Now this is curly parsley. I would like to have flat leaf, but they don't have any. It's like I got to go to England to buy the stuff. Unbelievable. All right, so I got about a good sized tablespoon of chopped parsley, or whatever it turns out to be. And stir that all up. Bring it back up to heat. Does not take long. Get you a plate. Wash it off. I'm washing this one because all the others are in the dishwasher dirty. So I don't have any left in the cupboard. Skull. All right, let's get us a nice hunk of beef here. Which one of these is the best looking one? This one right here. We'll do this one. Get the prettiest side up. Turn that off. Not broil, off. Oven off. Get a spoon. Get some of the sauce over the top. Don't want a heck of a lot. That's plenty. Just because it's pretty. A little bit of paprika. Just because it's red and it looks good. Okay? We got some green beans back here that have been steeping nicely with their first cousin bacon, and a little bit of beef base. Slotted spoon on the plate, like that. And our mashed potatoes are still hot. They're in the microwave. Microwaves are very good at maintaining heat. And we'll take a little plop of those, form them nicely because everything looks good. And then you have to do this. It's a prerequisite. You take your mashed potatoes, get the end of the spoon a little bit wet, and make a well. And put a little bit of the gravy on top of the mashed potatoes. All right, folks, there we go. Here we go. Let's see if I can get this so I can put it up here and show you. All right. Does that look about right to you all? What do you think? Well, now for the test, though. First of all, where's my camera? Have to take a picture of this. Somebody gave me this camera because the little switch in the back broke. It's not a very good camera, but it takes good pictures at 640 by 480, which is all I really need. Perfect. Now, good. Okay. All right, we got to give this a try. I will be honest with you. I promise not to lie. I've never lied to you before. First of all, let's start with the mashed potatoes because they got the good stuff in them. Here we go. Oh. Oh. Tiny bit too much time. Just a little bit too much time. But it's not going to hurt it. It's just a little too much time in the sauce. Let's give a try to this little hunk of meat here. There's no fat on this thing, so even if you don't like fat, you don't have to worry about it. That is country fried or chicken fried steak. Yep, that's chicken fried steak. For sure. Oh, green beans are great. There you go. That was good. Nice glass of red wine. You're in heaven. I mean, really, you're in heaven. American comfort food. The French got nothing on us. The French wouldn't even think of this. Thank you, Mark. I will be posting this, of course. Thank you, Joy Marie. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. We kept it down to an hour. See, you can make a really good dinner in an hour even from scratch. Appreciate you coming. Kathy, thank you for coming too. One of these days you're just going to show up at my door at 7 o'clock, aren't you? Or 8 o'clock. Appreciate it, guys. I'm going to go eat my dinner. See you all later.